Alright, update on Bitcoin. So in yesterday's Bitcoin video titled Bitcoin, the macro perspective, I gave you a breakdown of my views on Bitcoin in the macro perspective and why personally I'm bullish on this in the long term, and I think this is going to millions of dollars. Today I'm going to do a different type of analysis, and I'm going to be checking out Bitcoin on the Heikin-Ashi candles. Before we do that, I'll give you a super quick rundown of what's going on with the crypto markets. To start with, let's talk about the stock market. And if you don't know, if this is your first time watching my channel, I like to talk about the dollar, the stock market, before I jump into Bitcoin sometimes, because if you're not aware, the stock market follows the dollar, and Bitcoin follows the stock market, and the total crypto market cap follows Bitcoin. So they're all in tandem. Starting off with the stock market, I do see that this has fired a buy signal on the daily EMA ribbons, and we are starting to head up. We're currently stuck at the 200-day right now, but nonetheless, we've backtested these EMA ribbons. We're picking up bullish momentum to the upside. We've flipped these EMA ribbons and we've backtested them. That is really all I've got for you for the stock market. I don't want to overcomplicate this section because I really think this is the most bullish thing that we've seen for the stock market in a very long time. The last time the stock market fired along, we were all the way down here at 440, and we carried all the way up to 480. The time before that, we went on some parabolic bull run from all the way down here at 285 all the way up to, well, to the top here it was 450. So these really do have a good vibe about them. Every time we switch long on the daily EMA ribbons for the stock market, it normally does ensue with a parabolic run. And I do think Bitcoin would soon follow with that. So if we check out what's going on with Bitcoin, on the daily, it's slightly different from the stock market. Now, on the daily, we've broken below these EMA ribbons. And I really said, if we break below these EMA ribbons, then I kind of would have to expect that 42,500 would be the next in line. And then if we break below 42.5, I would be expecting a quick flush out for 40,000. I highlighted this in yesterday's video, but I did say I would not be banking on a move down to 40,000. I would not, in my wildest dreams, think about shorting Bitcoin right now, because we are in a huge macro uptrend, and people really seem to forget this because the crypto markets move so fast. At the beginning of the year, down here at the 23rd of March, we were bottoming at 35,000. People were freaking out. A couple of weeks later, we were bottoming at 37,000. People were freaking out. A couple of weeks later, bottoming at 38,000, and people are freaking out. And today, we're hanging around 43,000 and people are freaking out. So even if we have a move down to 40,000, I'd like to point out we're still in a huge uptrend. So I'm not suicidal. I don't fancy, trying to short Bitcoin when it's in this huge uptrend, in my opinion. And we've just fired a green buy signal on the EMA indicators, and while these could potentially fake out to the downside, I'm really not betting on it. I really do think, smaller time frames, sure, it looks a bit bearish. We are firing a 4-hourly sell signal, but I'm really, 40,000 is my worst case scenario, and I'm not banking on it. I'm not saying we're coming down to 40,000. As long as we hold 42.5, then I really don't expect this to come down. But if we do close dailies below 42.5, I would be expecting a quick move to 40,000. I'm really not, like I said, I'm not trading against Bitcoin right now. I don't think it's a good idea to short. That's just my opinion, not financial advice. But now let's jump into the Heikin-Ashi candles. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, you probably haven't seen Heikin-Ashi candles before. They're really not that common. I really don't see too many other YouTubers cover them apart from Ben Cohen. Now, honestly, I literally haven't seen anyone cover them apart from Ben Cohen. So, shout out to Ben Cohen if you don't watch him. He is a great channel to watch. I currently don't really watch any YouTube channels. I don't have too much time. But nonetheless, jumping into the analysis, if we look at the monthly Heikin-Ashis, by the way, if you want to learn about Heikin-Ashis, I have a educational playlist on my channel where I run through, tons of different things that would be interesting for new people to trade. If you've never seen Heikin-Ashis, you want to learn how to use them, you want to learn how they're used, you want to learn how they're calculated and how to trade off them, you can go check that video out. It's in my educational playlist channel titled, Heikin-Ashi. So the number one reason why I use Heikin-Ashis is because they very well characterize uptrends and downtrends much better than traditional Japanese candlesticks. So let me show you why. If we look at what's going on with the monthly Heikin-Ashi candles with Bitcoin, you can see we initiated this bull run when the monthly Heikin-Ashis flipped green all the way down here at 8k. We then proceeded to move all the way up to 56,000 before these fired red. So if you sold once these fired red, you would have sold at 46,500. You would have then bought in once the first green monthly came in, and you would have bought on the close at 44,000. So really not too much impressive, 46 to 44. But nonetheless, if you were trading these based on the monthly Heikin-Ashis when this flipped bullish on 8,000, you would have got all the way up in until we did close on the first red round here at 50,000. So then you can see we proceeded a downtrend. Once these flipped green, we went all the way from the first green close to 44,000 all the way up to 69,000 before these did fire red at approximately 50,000. You can see we've been in a downtrend since then on the Heikin-Ashis, and now they are switching to green. So I do think, if this closes, if this continues to push up green, then I really can't be bearish on the Bitcoin chart. I do think this is incredibly macro bullish. On the monthly, we just don't seem to take out monthly EMA ribbons. We always come back and back test the lower moving average. Worst comes to worst, and the lower moving average is down here at 24, but I don't think we're coming down to 24. I see a very nice, I mean, this isn't really a W pattern, but we're Wing out in the effect that we've got a higher low down here, and we're starting to see a push up. I'm not saying this is a W pattern. Wing out does not mean that it is a W pattern. You could have a W pattern or a Wing pattern like this where you've still got higher lows. That is what I mean by Wing out. But yeah, I mean, if we look at this on a monthly time frame, we're pushing up, so I really wouldn't be betting against BTC when it is heading up on this monthly Heikin-Ashi. Now, once again, why I like to use these, if we switch over to the Japanese candlesticks, you can see a lot of the time, I mean, the uptrend started down here. You had a few fake outs. You had 1, 2, 3 fake outs. This called it pretty well, but then on this uptrend, we had a fake out from 47,000 down to 43,000, and in my opinion, this red candle that we're seeing on the monthly right now is a fake out waiting to happen. Now, I do believe looking at these on the Heikin-Ashis really smooths things out. It really takes away a lot of the noise, and until this flips red, until the Heikin-Ashi turns red and we continue this downtrend, I can't even be remotely, midterm bearish on Bitcoin. So I mean, really, this is very, very simple. Green Heikin-Ashis on the monthly normally indicates that we're about to enter a big uptrend. We are entering a green Heikin-Ashi right now, so obviously this is really the start of the month. This is a macro video that I'm doing, but as long as we're still green by Sunday the 1st of April, or sorry, the 1st of the 1st of May, then I can't be bearish. We're still green, we're still looking good. The total crypto market cap is heading up, and similar on the crypto market cap Heikin-Ashis, we're starting to head up and we're seeing good volume coming in. And also the squeeze mom momentum indicator is still green. We are losing a tiny bit of momentum, but I think this definitely does have a chance to pick up to the upside very soon. So once again, this is really a macro video. I did focus on what is going on in the short term, but I'm really not too worried about these, small signals that we're seeing, like the EMA ribbon flipping bearish on the 4 hour. I think worst comes to worst, we move down to 40,000. Once again, I would not be trading a move down to 40,000. I think it's absolutely suicidal to, kind of trade against Bitcoin when it's in such a large uptrend. In my opinion, could be wrong. There's a few different ways to look at this. You could even argue that we're in a huge bear flag right now, with the pole being all the way up here. I personally really don't think that's going to happen at all. Nonetheless, could be wrong. This is just my analysis and my thoughts on the market, really. But yeah, once again, I'm really not bearish on Bitcoin right now. I think worst comes to worst, 40,000 is going to hold. But even then, I'm not convinced that we would move down to 40,000. So just keep your eyes on 42.5. If we close below 42.5, I would have to expect that 40,000 is going to be in play. But once again, monthly Heikin-Ashi candles, they paint a completely different picture. In my opinion, this is not bearish whatsoever. This is just the start of a very large uptrend, and we are obviously going to have a little bit of turbulence on the way. It is never going to be a straight line up. It is never going to be that easy. If you're in crypto and you think, you know, if I buy now and it's going to go up in a straight line, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. You know, people think that, you know, I buy Bitcoin, it goes up in straight line. The reality is you buy a Bitcoin, it chops you out, it does this, and over time it grows. And the people who buy and hodl Bitcoin down here or here or here are the people that win. And the retail traders that buy and then, you know, they see it go down and they're like, oh, I need to sell, but, you know, the macro uptrend is still bullish. Those are the people who really get suckered out of their money. The market takes the most amount of money from the most amount of people most of the time, and I think we're seeing that now. I think we're seeing a flush out of the weak hands, and I do think it is likely that we would need to consider a move to the downside in the short term. But once again, macro trend is still very much in play. The Heikin-Ashis tell a completely different picture than what's going on the Japanese candlesticks right now. So once again, really not worried. That is all I see for Bitcoin. Still looks very healthy to me. I think we need to take out this 200-day though. This was very strong resistance at 48k. Once we break above 48k, I probably will be leverage trading again. Until then, the only other leverage position that I would even consider would be a move down to 40,000, and then after we have a bounce, I would enter along. So that's all I see, not financial advice. Best of luck if you're in Bitcoin once again. Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. Cowboy out. Peace.